Hello, everyone. On behalf of the Colorado Department of Revenue, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our virtual retail delivery fee webinar recording. My name is Jane, and I will be your host for today's webinar. If you want to learn all about the retail delivery fee, you have come to the right place. This webinar is designed to review what the retail delivery fee is, what changes have taken place since it came into effect on July 1st of 2022, and its filing and remittance requirements. This webinar will last approximately 1 hour. In today's webinar, we will cover a brief background and overview of the retail delivery fee, information about marketplaces and marketplace sellers, implementation and changes, how to file and pay the retail delivery fee, and resources and tools for the retail delivery fee. We hope that this webinar will answer your questions about the retail delivery fee, but we will also provide resources and tools so that you can find additional assistance if needed. The retail delivery fee has been in effect for more than a year now, so stay with us since there have been some changes and legislative updates. Our motto is to always help. Our mission is to promote voluntary compliance with tax laws through education, assistance, and customer service. Let's begin today's webinar by highlighting the department's family of websites. We'll show you how to navigate our family of websites and show you where to find helpful videos at the end of this section. The department's family of websites includes your Colorado L.I.F.E, our main website, Tax.Colorado.gov, and Revenue Online. We'll also provide a brief overview of how to find and navigate each of these in just a moment. Your Colorado L.I.F.E, which stands for Links and Information for Everyone, is an educational website developed by the Colorado Department of Revenue for Colorado residents, and it contains valuable information on how state taxes are collected and used, income tax collection and filing, how taxes can impact college, career, and even car buying choices, starting a business, a history of where taxes come from and how they are used, and links to federal and state websites. Although it's a great resource for high school and college-aged residents, we find that Colorado residents of all ages visit this website. The content is relevant, engaging, and easily accessible from our website at Tax.Colorado.gov. The department's website address is Tax.Colorado.gov. On our website, you can find information for businesses, individuals, tax professionals, forms by tax type or number, and the latest news. A frequent question we get is, how can I be sure that I'm using the most current form? Well, don't worry. The most current version of all of the forms we reference in this webinar, as well as all our other forms, can be found on our website under the Forms tab on the home page. Think of our website as a Colorado tax information superstore that's open 24/7, 365, and all the information is free. Here's a helpful hint. You can easily access the Colorado State Tax and Fee Due Date Guide directly from our homepage. This guide is an excellent resource for information regarding filing, payment deadlines, methods, and associated forms for both business and individual taxes. Scroll to the bottom of the page and, under Helpful Links, click Due Date Guide. And right across from the Fee and Due Date Guide at the bottom of the home page is where you can sign up for email alerts. We have an ever-expanding catalog of helpful videos available on our official YouTube channel. And you can find information specifically on the retail delivery fee on our website. To view information about the retail delivery fee on our website, go to Tax.Colorado.gov, hover over Businesses in the menu bar, select the Fees and Charges option, and then select the menu panel titled Retail Delivery Fee. Revenue Online is an administration portal that you can use to check the status of refunds, make payments, file returns, manage your account, and find sales and use tax rates. You can also use Revenue Online to submit power of attorney documents or e-filer attachments, to verify a license or certificate, to send us a secure message, to update your mailing address, or, if necessary, to close your account. We also know that understanding tax policy isn't always easy, so the department launched an automated self-service chatbot on Revenue Online that we have affectionately named DORi, which stands for Department of Revenue Interactive, to help answer common taxpayer questions. DORi is the bright orange tax owl that roosts at the top of the Revenue Online homepage. Last year, DORi provided over 84,000 chatbot responses to taxpayers' questions, and taxpayers completed over 33,000 actions using DORi. DORi is a helpful resource whose vocabulary and answers are constantly being refined based on taxpayer feedback. We encourage you to use DORi the next time you visit Revenue Online, and when you do, please provide feedback so we can continue to tailor and improve DORi's information and answers to be more responsive for you, our taxpayers. Let's take a walkthrough of our website, including how to find the retail delivery fee webpage and how to access Revenue Online. And I'll introduce you to DORi. To access the retail delivery fee website, we'll start at our homepage, which is Tax.Colorado.gov. From the top blue menu bar, hover over Businesses. Then from the drop-down menu, select Fees and Charges. On the next page, scroll down below the banner until you see a list of options under the header Fees Administered by the Department of Revenue. From here, select the menu panel for the retail delivery fee. This page is where you'll find information about the retail delivery fee. If you continue to scroll down, there will be more information about the current rate, information about registering accounts, adding access, reporting and paying, penalties and interest, refunds, information for retailers and purchasers, closing accounts, and more. You'll also see the videos we have available on our YouTube channel, and finally, the most frequently asked questions. To access Revenue Online, we'll go back up to our blue menu bar, which is accessible from any page on our website. From the blue menu bar, we'll select Online Services. Scroll down below the banner, and in the Revenue Online menu panel, select Visit ROL. Revenue Online is an administration portal that you can use to access your account. This is also where you will find DORi. To use DORi, our ever-wise tax owl, click the bright orange owl at the top of the Revenue Online homepage. Then, in the chat box, type your question. Since this is a retail delivery fee webinar, let's type in retail delivery fee. You can select the blue arrow or you can tap your Enter key on your keyboard. Let's see what DORi brings back for us. DORi brought back a lot of information for us, including what the retail delivery fee is, its current rate, the newly introduced exemption for small businesses, and how to add user access on Revenue Online. If DORi is not providing the information you are requesting, you can either shorten or rephrase your question. For example, we could type retail delivery fee access to get more information on adding access to your account. You can also leave feedback so that we can improve DORi's responses by selecting the hyperlink that says, "If this did not answer your question, click here to let us know." I'd also like to take a moment to highlight a few other places that you can find us. We're on LinkedIn. We have our YouTube channel, which has tutorials and walkthroughs. We're on Facebook and Instagram, which has weekly tax tips, reminders, and helpful hints to make being voluntarily tax compliant so much easier. Let's turn our attention now to some information about the history of the retail delivery fee. The retail delivery fee came into being with the passage of Senate Bill 21-260, titled Sustainability of the Transportation System, in 2021. Starting July 1st of 2022, Colorado imposed a small retail delivery fee on all deliveries by motor vehicle to a location in Colorado with at least one item of tangible personal property subject to state sales or use tax. For example, if you are ordering grocery deliveries online and you purchase bananas, strawberries, and shampoo, you will pay the retail delivery fee on the transaction, as shampoo is subject to state sales tax. If, however, you are purchasing bananas, strawberries, and potatoes, those items are not subject to state sales tax, and therefore no retail delivery fee will be assessed. We'll find out which items are subject to sales and use tax in just a few minutes. And we'll tell you where you can find resources to locate that information and more. Here is a table of the retail delivery fee breakdown. As you can see, until June 30th of 2023, the retail delivery fee was 27 cents. But as of July 1st of 2023, it is now 28 cents per delivery. This is because the rate is subject to inflation and will be adjusted each fiscal year beginning on July 1st. As this chart shows, this fee is allocated to a number of funds and enterprises as determined in Senate Bill 21-260. All this information and this chart can be found on the retail delivery fee page on our website, Tax.Colorado.gov/retail-delivery-fee. So how does the retail delivery fee affect business owners? This fee is paid by the consumer, but it is collected by the retailer or business owner. All retailers licensed to make sales in Colorado and who sell taxable items that are or will be delivered by a motor vehicle to a location in Colorado, including deliveries made by a third party, are required to charge, collect, and remit the fee to the Colorado Department of Revenue. The fee is 28 cents per retail sale for delivery. The retail delivery fee is charged to the purchaser and collected by the retailer, who then remits it to the Colorado Department of Revenue. For example, a marketplace facilitator must collect the fee on behalf of any marketplace sellers selling through their marketplace. We'll cover more information on marketplace sales toward the end of this section. The fee is collected, administered, and enforced in the same manner as your sales tax. Returns will be due by the 20th day of the month following the reporting period, which is based on your sales tax filing frequency. So your retail delivery fee will be due at the same time as your sales tax return. For example, if you are a monthly filer, then your retail delivery fee for the current month of August would be due on September 20th, the same time as your sales tax return. You'll file the retail delivery fee on a separate form, the DR 1786 Retail Delivery Fee Return. What is tangible personal property? In general, all tangible personal property that is sold, rented, or leased at retail into the state of Colorado is subject to Colorado sales tax, unless otherwise exempt by statute. Tangible personal property is defined by law in Section 39-26-102 of the Colorado Revised Statutes and is further clarified in Department Rule 1 CCR 201-4. Not that I've looked it up, but tangible personal property generally embraces all goods, wares, merchandise, products, and commodities, and all tangible or corporeal things and substances which are dealt in and capable of being possessed and exchanged, with limited exceptions as listed in statute. The focus of this webinar is the retail delivery fee, but we have an entire sales tax webinar where we discuss what is taxable in more depth. Listen, I'm a tax nerd, so I'm fascinated by all this information in the rules and statutes. But let's break it down and have some examples of items that would be subject to the retail delivery fee. The retail delivery fee will apply to all retail sales that have at least one item delivered by motor vehicle and include at least one item that is subject to Colorado state sales tax. Examples include, but are not limited to, restaurants that deliver, grocery stores that deliver, flower delivery services, online stores that ship orders, business-to-business retail sales. It is important to note that the retail delivery fee does not apply to wholesale sales, and sales that require delivery, such as furniture, appliances, electronics, etc. The retail delivery fee will not apply to deliveries made to locations outside of Colorado, but will apply to deliveries made by motor vehicle from another state to a location in Colorado. If all of the property sold is exempt from Colorado state sales tax, the delivery will be exempt from the retail delivery fee. Sales that include both exempt and taxable tangible personal property are subject to this fee when delivered by motor vehicle to a location in Colorado. A delivery that is made to a purchaser who is exempt from paying the state sales tax, such as a government or a charitable organization, is exempt from the retail delivery fee. Let's talk about the difference between wholesale and retail sales. A wholesale sale is any sale made by a wholesaler to a retailer that will then resell the items to an end user or consumer. Wholesale sales are not subject to sales tax. A retail sale is any sale made by the retailer to an end user or consumer. Retail sales are subject to sales tax. Wholesale sales cannot be to the end user or consumer of the goods. If a wholesaler makes a sale to an end user or consumer, This is a retail sale and is subject to sales tax and to the retail delivery fee if it is delivered by motor vehicle to a location in Colorado. Retailers that do not make any sales of taxable tangible personal property for delivery by a motor vehicle to a location in Colorado are not required to open a retail delivery fee account. You can break the retail delivery fee down into 2 questions. Is sales tax being collected on this sale? Is the product being delivered by motor vehicle? If both answers are yes, then the retail delivery fee applies when sales tax is collected. If every item in a retail sale is exempt from sales tax, or delivery is made to a purchaser who is exempt from paying state sales tax, the delivery is also exempt from the retail delivery fee. Examples would be a charitable organization or a government. However, if one or more items in the transaction are subject to sales tax, the retail delivery fee is due. Each sale for delivery is considered a single retail delivery, regardless of how many shipments are needed to deliver the items purchased. Some additional considerations for the retail delivery fee, which might be more relevant for bookkeepers and accountants, include: the retail delivery fee is not subject to the returned goods credit. So what does that mean? Let's say that I order a dress online that is delivered to me by a motor vehicle, so I pay the retail delivery fee. On my receipt, I see the charge for the retail delivery fee, but then I decide to return the dress. The delivery fee cannot be refunded to the customer because the event that triggered the fee still occurred. The dress was delivered. Another consideration is that the retail delivery fee is not subject to bad debt credit. What does that mean? This means that any retail delivery fees paid on sales represented by accounts found to be worthless and actually charged off for income tax purposes cannot be credited to the retailer upon subsequent payments of the retail delivery fees. The retail delivery fee is based on each order a customer makes. For example, if a customer orders a number of items in a cart and purchases all of the items at the same time, only one retail delivery fee is due, regardless of how many deliveries are actually needed to fulfill the sale. For example, if I order a sweater, some shoes, and a dress from the same store in one order, but for some reason the shoes ship separately, I only pay the retail delivery fee one time on the entire order, even though it is 2 shipments. Alternatively, if a customer orders a number of items and completes the purchase of each item at different times, the retail delivery fee is due on each sale, even if only one delivery is needed to complete the sale. For example, if I order a dress on Monday and a matching sweater and shoes on Tuesday, I will pay the retail delivery fee twice because I made 2 separate orders, even if all 3 items ship together. The retail delivery fee is based on the sale containing at least one item that is taxable for state sales or use tax and is due regardless of whether the customer pays the shipping costs or if the sale is from outside Colorado. Just remember our shopping cart from earlier with our bananas, strawberries, and shampoo being subject to the retail delivery fee because the shampoo is subject to state sales tax. But the order of bananas, strawberries, and potatoes would not be subject to the retail delivery fee because none of those items are subject to state sales tax. Finally, the fee is not part of the taxable purchase price for state and state-administered local sales tax. However, some self-collecting home rule jurisdictions have said the retail delivery fee is subject to sales tax within their jurisdiction. You will need to contact a city directly to determine whether it considers the retail delivery fee subject to sales tax. A complete list of home rule jurisdictions and their contact information can be found in the DR 1002 Colorado Sales and Use Tax Rates. And we have an incredibly helpful walkthrough video of the DR 1002 available on our YouTube channel. You can also use the State's Geographic Information System, or GIS, to find out if a specific jurisdiction includes a home rule city that considers the retail delivery fee taxable. Now I'd like to show you how to access the Geographic Information System's Sales and Use Tax Simplification, or SUTS, lookup tool. Please remember that the dates and values used in this walkthrough are for illustration purposes only, and tax rates are subject to change over time. To access the Geographic Information System's Sales and Use Tax Simplification, or SUTS, lookup tool, we'll start on our homepage at Tax.Colorado.gov. From the blue menu bar, select Online Services. Scroll down beneath the banner, and from the Geographic Information System, or GIS, menu panel, select Look Up Rates. In the search field, enter the address you would like to look up. In this example, we're going to use our service center address at 1881 Pierce Street, Lakewood, Colorado, 80214. Before we move on, I want to pause here because this is really important for you to know. In order to be held harmless and free of liability, the address you enter must be complete and free of error. You will only be relieved of liability for a failure to collect the tax if and only if such failure was solely due to an error or omission in the actual GIS database. If the address you enter in the GIS Colorado Sales Tax Lookup tool is incomplete or contains errors, any resulting failure to collect the accurate taxes due for the tax rate associated with the valid, correct address will not be considered the result of an error or omission in the GIS database, and you will not be relieved from paying the full, accurate tax liability. This information can be found in Part 9 of your Colorado Sales Tax Guide for record-keeping requirements. So what does this really mean? Slow down, make sure your address is complete and correct so you are free of liability. Once you are sure that your address is entered correctly and completely, select the gold button that says Accept Terms and Get Started, or you can tap Enter on your keyboard. The next screen will display the tax rate details. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see a breakdown of the total tax rate, as well as individual jurisdictions for this specific location. If you want to see if the retail delivery fee is subject to sales tax at your specific location, you can view the taxability matrix for products and services by clicking on the yellow arrow just above the total tax rate for the jurisdiction. In the taxability matrix, select the magnifying glass to search for a product or service. For this demonstration, we will type retail delivery fee into the search field. For this location, the retail delivery fee is not subject to sales tax. However, Let's change our address. Let's look up 1136 Alpine Avenue, Boulder, Colorado, 80304. Again, only by ensuring that your address is complete and free of error will you be relieved of liability for a failure to collect the correct tax. So let's make sure we type that correctly. Now, if we search the taxability matrix for the retail delivery fee for this location and select the retail delivery fee in the product and service list, the tax rate details results will automatically update. Looking at the results, we see that the retail delivery fee is subject to the City of Boulder's sales tax rate of 3.86%. However, under the tax rate details, you can see that the retail delivery fee is not subject to sales tax for the state, county, or special districts. Let's review some marketplace terminology and definitions, starting with a marketplace. A marketplace is a physical or electronic forum, including but not limited to a store, a booth, an internet website, a catalog, or a dedicated sales software application where tangible personal property, commodities, or services are offered for sale, lease, or rental. A marketplace facilitator is generally any individual or legal entity that operates a marketplace and contracts with marketplace sellers to facilitate sales and accept payment on the seller's behalf. A marketplace seller is anyone who contracts with a marketplace facilitator to make sales through a marketplace. A multi-channel seller is someone who sells through a marketplace facilitator, but also sells products directly to customers online or in a physical store. What does this mean for the retail delivery fee? In general, a marketplace facilitator must collect and remit all applicable state and state-administered local sales taxes for any sales made in Colorado through its marketplace. If a marketplace facilitator collects sales tax on an independent seller's behalf, the marketplace facilitator also collects and remits the retail delivery fee to the state. If you are a multi-channel seller, the marketplace would be required to collect sales tax and the retail delivery fee on sales made through the marketplace on your behalf. However, you would need to collect, file, and remit the retail delivery fee on sales made outside of marketplaces if the items are delivered to a location in Colorado by motor vehicle, regardless of who makes the delivery. The delivery can be made by the retailer, a marketplace facilitator, a third party, or the purchaser can arrange a shipping company to pick up and deliver the items. In all cases, the transaction is subject to the fee. This information and more can be found on our Marketplace Sales and Use Tax Information webpage, Tax.Colorado.gov/marketplaces. Let's talk about how the retail delivery fee has been implemented and what changes have been made. There is no license required or registration fee due for a retail delivery fee account. As a courtesy, retailers with an active sales tax account, a retailer license, and any sales tax liability reported after January 1st of 2021 were automatically registered for a retail delivery fee account on July 1st of 2022. This applied to both in-state and out-of-state retailers. If you did not make retail deliveries that required the filing of the retail delivery fee return and did not file any returns, the retail delivery fee account was automatically closed by February 28th of 2023. No additional action is needed on these accounts closed. If you have a new business or recently started making deliveries, how do you get a retail delivery fee account? You can open a retail delivery fee account through Revenue Online by filing the Retail Delivery Fee Return Form DR 1786 or by submitting Form CR0100, Colorado Sales Tax and Withholding Account Application. If you submit the Form CR0100 paper application, you will indicate if you need a retail delivery fee account by answering yes or no to the question, do you sell taxable items that will be delivered by a motor vehicle, including deliveries made by a third party, in Section C3. We have another helpful video that takes you step by step through the CR0100 available on our YouTube channel. There have been some adjustments to the retail delivery fee since its initial implementation. Effective July 1st of 2023, Senate Bill 23-143 created a small seller exemption for retailers who make up to $500,000 per year in retail sales, excluding wholesale sales, from having to collect and remit the retail delivery fee to the department. Beginning July 1st of 2023, the new law also permits retailers to elect to pay the fee on behalf of their customers without separately stating the fee amount on a receipt or invoice or collecting it directly from the customer. If you had an account that was automatically opened when the retail delivery fee was implemented, but you did not make retail deliveries that required the filing of the retail delivery fee return and did not file any retail delivery fee returns, the account was automatically closed on February 28th of 2023. You can also close the retail delivery fee account as needed through Revenue Online, by submitting Form DR 1108 Business Tax Account Closure Form, or by contacting the Taxpayer Helpline at 303-238-7378. Learning how to do something includes both knowledge and skills. We've covered the knowledge part, so now let's learn how to file and pay the retail delivery fee. Only one return will be required for all locations or sites on your account. If you have several locations, you are only required to file one return for the entire state. A retail delivery fee return is required for every period, even if no fee is due for that reporting period. The retail delivery fee return must be filed and paid by the due date. The retail delivery fee is not a tax. It is a fee. So why is this an important distinction? Because it means that penalties and interest apply differently. A common misunderstanding that we see is that with a tax, the penalty is usually calculated based on the tax due. However, with a fee, the penalty applies even if there is no fee due. I want to focus on this for a minute because I don't want you to end up with penalties. A late filing or payment penalty will be assessed if a retailer fails to file a return or to remit the fee due by the due dates. Again, this applies even if there were no deliveries made in the reporting period. The penalty for the retail delivery fee is the greater of $15 or 10% of the fee due, plus 0.5% for each month that the fee remains unpaid, not to exceed a total of 18%. And on top of that, interest may also apply on late balances. Interest accrues according to the interest rate listed in FYI General 11 and accrues until the fee balance is paid in full. Returns are generally filed on a monthly basis and must be filed on or before the 20th day of the month following each reporting period. Retailers permitted to file state sales tax returns on a quarterly, annual, or other basis will file the retail delivery fee return on the same schedule. For filing returns, the 20th is your BFF. If the 20th falls on the weekend or a legal holiday, the return will be due the next business day. Monthly returns are due the 20th day of the month following the reporting month, so if I'm filing for the current month of August, my return is due September 20th. Quarterly returns are based on calendar quarters and are due by the 20th day of the month after the end of the quarter. First quarter, which runs January through March, is due April 20th. Second quarter, which runs from April to June, is due July 20th. Third quarter, which runs from July through September, is due October 20th. So if I'm a quarterly filer, we are in the third quarter. Even if I just started making deliveries in August, my first return will still be for the third quarter and will be due October 20th. Fourth quarter, which runs October through December, is due January 20th of the following year. Annual returns for January through December are due January 20th of the following year. For example, if I'm an annual filer, even if I started making deliveries in August, my first return will be for any deliveries made in calendar year 2023 and will be due January 20th of 2024. If you need a quick refresher on due dates, our due date guide can be found on our website. You can file your retail delivery fee return online at Colorado.gov/revenue online or by paper with the DR 1786 Retail Delivery Fee Return. All electronic payment methods listed on our website are available for filing your retail delivery fee return. You may pay electronically through Revenue Online with methods including credit or debit card and e-check, or by direct debit. If you file using the paper form DR 1786, you can pay via check or money order. Be sure to include the account number on your check to ensure proper credit. If you want to file an amended return, you may correct errors in the following ways. On the paper form DR 1786, check the box next to the line "Check here if this is an amended return." On your Revenue Online account, after you have logged in, select File or Amend and view Returns or Payments. We will not be conducting a walkthrough of the paper form DR 1786. However, we want to show you how simple it is to file using Revenue Online. To file your retail delivery fee return on Revenue Online, you'll need to log in to your Revenue Online account. Let's start on our main website, Tax.Colorado.gov. From the blue menu bar, select Online Services. Scroll down and in the Revenue Online menu panel, select Visit ROL. On the Revenue Online homepage, enter your username and your password and select Log In. If prompted, enter the security code that you receive for the multi-factor verification security measure. If you are on a trusted device, you may choose to select the box next to Trust this device to reduce the number of times that a security code is requested when you access Revenue Online. When you are ready to proceed, select Confirm. Once you are logged in, from the Retail Delivery Fee menu panel, you will see an option to select File Return for the most recent return due. For prior periods, you may select the link File or Amend and view Returns or Payments from the Retail Delivery Fee account menu. In this example, we will select File Return for the most recent filing period. On the next screen, enter the number of retail deliveries that you had for the reporting period on line 1. Please note that the period can be seen at the top of the page, just under the Retail Delivery Fee Return header. For this example, we'll enter 15 on line 1. Revenue Online will automatically multiply the number of deliveries that you had by the current retail delivery fee rate, and the net fee amount due will appear on line 7. Please note that if you over-collected the retail delivery fee, you are required to remit the entire amount collected to the department. Use line 4 to report any excess fee amounts that you collected. If it is determined that the fee was over-reported on a prior period and a refund for the overpayment is not barred by the statute of limitations, line 6 can be used to claim credit for the previously over-reported fee amount. If you are not able to claim the credit on line 6 of your current return for a prior period credit, you will need to amend the previous return and then file the Excise Fee and Fuel Claim for Refund Form DR 0137E to claim a refund. Why would you need to use the DR 0137E instead of the DR 0137 refund claim form? Well, as we discussed earlier, the retail delivery fee is a fee and not a tax. So you must use the DR 0137E refund claim form to request a refund for any overpayments of fees. Once you have reported all your retail deliveries, select the Next button to proceed. If you would like to make an ACH debit payment with your filing, select Yes and enter your banking information. If you have an ACH debit block with your bank, you will need to contact your bank to request the number D846000-537 be added to the debit block filter. Otherwise, your payment will be rejected. If you want to make a payment using any other method other than ACH debit, select No on the payment screen. Then select Submit to continue. A pop-up will appear where you will enter your password. Your password acts as your electronic signature on a return submission. Select OK to proceed. The final screen will show your confirmation number in bold. If you made a payment with your filed return, you would also see your payment receipt information. We highly recommend that you take a screenshot of this page or print a copy of this page for your records. The Printable View option allows you to print a copy of the return that you just filed for your records as well. To return to the home page of your account, simply select the Colorado Department of Revenue logo at the top of your screen. If you did not submit a payment with your filing and still need to make a payment, you can go to the Retail Delivery Fee Account menu, then select the Make a Payment link to be redirected to the payment page, where you can either make an ACH debit payment or scroll down to select other payment methods for more options. Now that we've reviewed the retail delivery fee itself, let's review what you need to do. Charge the purchaser on delivery orders, list the retail delivery fee separately on the receipt or invoice and label it Retail Delivery Fee, file the retail delivery fee return and remit the fee to the Colorado Department of Revenue. Also, remember that there is no registration fee and no additional license required. Only one return is required per tax account, sales tax, or retailer's use, regardless of the number of sites. You can file through Revenue Online or by using the Retail Delivery Fee Return, Form DR 1786. As mentioned earlier, the filing frequency and due dates will be the same as your sales tax or retailer's use tax frequency and due dates, and a return is required to be filed for each reporting period, even if no fee is due for that period. We have a wide variety of resources and tools that are available for you to use if you ever have questions. We have our websites, the Taxpayer Helpline. You can schedule an appointment with a tax examiner at one of our local offices, which are located in Colorado Springs, Denver Metro, Fort Collins, Grand Junction, and Pueblo. All our local offices are now open to the public via walk-in or by appointment, and each of our locations also have drop-off boxes if you need to drop off a form. We also have the department's FYIs and guidance publications and our taxpayer email. My name is Jane, and I'd like to thank you for your kind attention and for taking time out of your day to join us for this retail delivery fee webinar recording. I hope we helped put the retail delivery fee puzzle pieces together for you and gave you a clearer picture of how to be voluntarily tax compliant. It was our pleasure to serve you. Have a great rest of your day.